Welcome to the Immigrant Entrepreneurs Show, where our mission is to inspire, impact, and influence other immigrant entrepreneurs to follow their dreams and create the future they want. My guest today is the founder and CEO of Launch Ignition. Welcome to the show, Arias WebsterBerry.
Ali, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. So, Arias, you're not an immigrant. Sometimes we make an exception to the rule. You're one of them, but you have an amazing story, and I believe there are so many parts of your story and the entire story, actually, that many of our listeners and our audience is going to relate to. So, yeah, man, tell us about where. You were born in the U.S., I believe, but tell us about how you grew up. Did you grow up with money and coming from a wealthy family, or what was it like for you?
Yeah, definitely didn't come from a wealthy family. By any means. I've wanted to be an entrepreneur as long as I could think. But, before I was an entrepreneur, I was just a normal kid growing up in the suburbs, middle class, lower middle class, upper lower class. And, as a kid, it seemed like, I was born in a world that was designed to test me. So, by the time I turned 18, I had lived in over 12 places. My father struggled with addiction. Both of my parents were incarcerated at one time or another. And, when I was 13, I lost my father to police violence. So, I've definitely faced some hardships, especially early on in life. I've had my share of struggle. I've been homeless. I've made a whole lot of money. I've lost it all. And I've always struggled to establish myself and make something of myself without really having much, support.
I see. What was your, let's say, the thing that you could hold yourself into when you were going through struggles as a kid or maybe even as a teenager? What was it that kept you going through life and, not losing, as we say in German, losing the carpet under your foot?
Um, I credit my mom with building a very, very solid sense of self. I've always felt that, or people always tell me I'm very confident, arrogant. Sometimes they say, overconfident. Um, but one of the things that I've always known, and something that she made me aware of, that in life, you're born alone, you die alone. And, all you have is you and your ability to get up every day and get after your dreams. And, because of that, like I said, she did a great job of building my confidence, but she also taught me to, keep going and not give up. And I think I know that I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I never had any doubts to that. So I wake up every day and, even if I fail at a venture or I experience a setback, that doesn't deter me from my ultimate goal and my path, which is to be a business owner that provides value to my customers.
I see. So what was I assume you did not wake up one day and you're like, okay, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to become a business owner and an entrepreneur. What was the starting point and what was the journey for you like in order to becoming an entrepreneur?
Like I said, there was a lot of challenges earlier, and these challenges, they probably could have set me back, but they became my foundation for entrepreneurship, for resilience, for creativity. My drive to build something meaningful. When I started, I started throwing parties in high school and college, which unexpectedly taught me the power of communicating and connecting with people and building a following. And over time, this naturally evolved into social media marketing. I started with doing it for record labels and Then I did it for nightclubs, and then small concerts, bigger concerts, and eventually I ended up doing large festivals. Largest event I did was for 17,000 people at the Los Angeles Sports Arena. We had Janelle Monáe, Common, Ludacris, Mixmaster Mike from the Beastie Boys. And, that was my first chance at doing like a full marketing campaign. We did outdoor, like with billboards, and we did TV and radio and social media and, guerrilla marketing with street teams and negotiating contracts with, some very large marketing outlets. And that was the first time I got a chance to really realize that this is what I wanted to do. But shortly after 2009, the recession hit, and I pivoted from being a concert promoter to taking a role at the largest digital marketing company in the world, which is Reach Local at the time. And that's where I really got my formal hands-on training and realized the true potential of digital marketing.
I see. By the way, I can relate to a lot of what you said, because I also was a promoter at some point, and I actually co-own a nightclub to this day, which
Okay.
I'm very happy about. It's a great
Yeah.
business, and you make a lot of people happy. So yeah, tell us about what happened after that. After tipping your toes into the digital marketing world and also learning from, let's say, the best in this world. What happened from there?
Yeah, armed with some, real world experience, I launched WebsterBerry Marketing. I originally launched it with a business partner and eventually struck out on my own, rebranded as WebsterBerry Marketing. And, my focus was simple, to help businesses harness digital tools and scale effectively to seven figures and beyond. And we started with just building simple websites and doing a little bit of graphic design for solopreneurs and local mom and pops. And now I've got a huge staff, and we service clients all over the country. I have employees all over the world. And to date, we've helped generate over $112 million in revenue for our clients, which we're extremely proud of, because that means we're doing our job. But it started off very simply, man. Just me doing a couple flyers, doing a couple websites for some friends and family, and then referring people, and it just snowballed into what it is today.
Awesome. Congratulations on doing and building this amazing opportunity, this company. So, what is it like? Because when we get into digital marketing, there are, as you know, as I know, hundreds of thousands of companies out there, and I
Mhm.
believe you have to really be good at what you're doing in order not only to survive but grow the company. And number two, you need to know what you're doing. You cannot just come because there is with all these platforms like Fiverr or Upwork, you can hire people across the world for a fraction of what people would pay in a different
Mhm.
country. Yeah, man, tell us what it is like and what it means also digital marketing, for someone who is maybe a little bit more old school. They don't know exactly what what other than all the social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook and what they're called, what it means in a more specific term, what it means to do digital marketing for companies and businesses.
Yeah, I mean, digital marketing is definitely a umbrella term. I remember being at a networking event, and this young lady asked me, "So what do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a digital marketer." And she said, "I don't know what that means." I said, I mean, essentially, all digital marketing is using a variety of digital tools, whether it's social media or email or a website, or a CRM, which is a customer relationship management system, basically a place to store all your contacts and all your interactions with them. Using all those tools in concert. True digital marketers are multidisciplinary, right? They know all of those things, and they kind of know how they all fit together. I always liken it to like a mechanic, right? A true mechanic, a mechanic's mechanic, you can just hand them a box full of parts, and then you give them some time and they can build a car, right? Digital marketers are very much the same. Most business owners don't know much about social media, or they don't know how to build a website. They don't know anything about search engine optimization and all these different things. But as a digital marketer, you understand how all of these things work together. And it's essentially the same thing as that box of parts. We take them, we build a machine that helps you attract leads and convert those leads into customers.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah.
And as you said, there is different parts that combined together helps you build your digital marketing machine. Do you guys offer everything within Launch Ignition, or what do you exactly do? Do you offer email marketing, social media, paid ads, copy, and so on and so forth? Or are you specialized in one specific area?
So Launch Ignition is the accelerator for entrepreneurs that are trying to get their business scaled to six figures and beyond. My agency is WebsterBerry Marketing, and yes, on that side, we do everything. So we build websites, we build sales funnels, we have a whole ad team. So we um, create and run ads on social media platforms as well as traditional media like radio and TV. We have a video editing team, we got graphic designers, anything that you want to do marketing wise. If you come to us, we have a team of people that can do it. Right. And, I don't want to say any budget, but we have smaller packages, in the hundreds of dollars for our, what we call our social authority, which is a blend of PR and social media management. All the way up to clients that are spending tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars with us a month, on advertising and things like that. So yeah, we do all of it, and that's why my team is getting so big, because in order to deal with a lot of these more complicated and intricate campaigns, we do need a very large team of people that can execute it.
Right. I was going to ask you, who is your typical customer or client that comes to you? Or, what size of the business do they have? But I believe you answered there. But by saying we have different kinds of packages, from smaller packages to bigger packages. But also tell us maybe a bit more, you know, specifically who can come to you and get your help and get your support and services.
Yeah, so just recently we retooled one of our set of packages. So we have our social authority, which, for a few $100, we can basically manage your social media. We'll help you create some content, break it down into smaller pieces, and publish it to go out so that you can consistently stay in front of your crowd and, hopefully attract some new leads and prospects. And then, we have larger clients like the Crown Plaza Hotel, right? They've been a client for a long time. They're a 24-story building in the middle of downtown Dallas, worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Nyack Cognac, which is produced in France and headquartered in Miami. That's a global brand. JetQuest Travel, which is one of our newer clients that we signed. They're a global travel brand, but, we have single or solo entrepreneurs, right? A beautician, right? That hires us. We have a coaching business, right? That just started a couple months ago. We have some podcasts that we help to market. So, I mean, truly, we've tried to provide great value for what we charge, and we typically have something for almost any budget.
Okay, so then the two of us, should definitely talk off camera a little bit. Maybe we can do
Yeah,
something.
sure.
All right. So now tell us a little bit about Launch Ignition.
Yeah, man. Launch Ignition is my pet project. It started as a just a side thing, and actually came as a result of us doing the opposite of what I just said. About 4 years ago, we uh, made a kind of a small package to help businesses that are just getting started, don't have much money for a marketing budget, and we kind of got them in, and it probably happened maybe 8 to 10 times where we started doing marketing. And after a couple weeks, we got a call from the business owner and they would say, "Hey, can you turn off the marketing?" And we were like, "Turn off the marketing? What do you mean? We just started. We just talked to you last week. You said that you're getting leads. You're happy. Why would you want to turn off the marketing?" And they said, "Yeah, actually, we're good, but we're actually getting too many customers." I said, "Well, how are you getting too many customers? There's no such thing." But what we realized is for certain businesses that are not set up for scale, us turning on our marketing was actually doing more harm than good. They were starting to get a lot of negative reviews. They were starting to get some customers that were angry with them because they did not have the ability to handle that volume of business. So they were getting negative star ratings. They were getting some nasty emails and calls because people had paid them and they weren't able to produce the product or service. So we decided to kind of institute a minimum to work with us. And after a couple of years of doing that, we realized that there was a big swath of the entrepreneurial pool that we were missing because of this minimum. So after a couple family members came to me and said, "Hey, man, I hear you do marketing," some friends of friends, I finally said, "Hey, let me get a couple of them together and I'm going to put them through this program. I'm going to take all the things that I've learned in business over the last, decade or so, the way I've built my own business, the processes, the frameworks, the systems, and I'm going to teach them this. I'm going to help them. I'm going to get in there and I'm going to physically help them build their business and set it up to scale to six figures and beyond." And as a result, Launch Ignition became that. It's literally that. It's the ignition or the spark to launch your business. And that first year we started with like 5 people and it quickly grew. We think we did maybe like 50 to 56,000 that first year in that business, kind of just as a side business. And now we've put over 110 people through the process. All of them are purely off of referrals. We haven't done any marketing. This whole podcast thing is the first time I'm talking about it publicly. But we've been able to help a lot of people. And so much so that we've come up with a goal of, guiding 1,000 entrepreneurs to help them make $100,000 in a year. And then helping 100 entrepreneurs generate $1 million in a year. We want to do that by 2026. This mission is what we call our 100x impact, and it drives everything that I do now.
I love that. So is that basically for entrepreneurs that are getting started, or in what phase of their business do they have to be to come on Launch Ignition and get the value?
Typically, we find they're in their first 5 years. We have some that just have an idea that come to us, and Launch Ignition is a coaching program along with a software. It's an AI software that we use to help pull your business idea, your process, how you go from point A of a customer having a problem to point B solving, and all the mini steps to internally get that done. But people that have just an idea, and then we have some established businesses. I always tell this story, but there's a company called Ohio Laser Cleaning, and they use class 4 lasers, like pum lasers, right, to clean heavy machinery and concrete and all these different things. And I had never heard of that. I was just like, that is crazy. Like, you actually own a laser, like an actual laser that can, put a hole in something. And he said, yeah. But he didn't really know how he was going to deliver that service regularly, how he could easily explain it to a customer, right? Because it's a very dense subject. And going through Launch Ignition, we were able to help him get all of that technical jargon out of the way and bring that down to a very easy to understand process and messaging, and also identify who he wanted to target with this stuff. So yeah, we get people that are established in business that are really technical. And then we get, some people that are just now starting and just have an idea of, or maybe they have an expertise that they want to turn into like a course or something.
I wonder, are these businesses most B2C or B2B businesses that come on Launch Ignition?
I would say most of them are probably B2C. I'd say probably like 60 to about 70% are B2C. And then the other 30% are obviously B2B.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah.
Coming back to your digital marketing world, if somebody is listening to this and they're like, yeah, man, I get to talk to so many digital marketing agencies, but I cannot tell which one are actually, because if you get on a call, onboarding call, they all tell you, it's, by the way, it's my own experience. I've been
Mm-hmm.
in that shoe myself. So they tell you how great they are, and then they get your money, but on the delivery part, it becomes a little bit more, let's say they overpromise and under
To
deliver.
deliver. Yeah.
How can someone who is maybe looking for an agency, how they can
Mhm.
find that who they're talking to is actually also going to deliver what they promise on?
I think it's exactly what you just said. I say it all the time, marketers and salesmen, typically they're liars, right? Just call a spade a spade. And it's terrible because I'm a marketer, and
Mhm.
a lot of times they get a bad rap. I think that there's a lot of salesmen that converted over to being marketers. They're not really good at the marketing thing, but they're really good at the sales thing. So to answer your question, I would say you need to focus on questions around fulfillment, right? Um, in their pitch, are they spending a good amount of time telling you how they're actually going to get you the thing? You know, do they say, hey, first you're going to fill out this form, we're going to meet, and then after that, we're going to set up a meeting for me to show you the thing that we created. And then after that, we're going to give you a report on this day and this day and this day. And if things don't go right, then we're going to change to this strategy. And, do they get real detailed in the
Mhm.
delivery or the fulfillment, right? Or are they really focused on a lot of the flash in the pan? Hey, we helped such and such make $4 million in 3 days. Hey, here's a picture of me and Russell Brunson, or here's a picture of me and um, Bill Gates, right? In order to establish credibility. Like, a lot of those things are designed to build the credibility, but when you really kind of get behind the wow, oh, Bill Gates, you realize that there really isn't much there in the way of a plan to actually produce results.
I see. And obviously, I get it. You cannot, when you sign up with the marketing agency, you cannot, or digital marketing agency, you cannot expect results within the first 2 to 3 days, not
Hmm.
even maybe the first 2 to 3 weeks. But
Yeah.
also, one thing that I see, it's common. I mean, they always want you to sign up on a retainer, right? Hey,
Hmm.
retainer, this is this package. Let's go on and let's sign you up for as long as possible. So
Hmm.
what do you see as a healthy length of an agreement for someone who is signing up with a digital marketing agency? And what should be a healthy expectation in order to seeing results? Maybe not going to the moon overnight, but
Hmm.
starting to getting to seeing some results.
That's a great question. So in our agency and what I've seen in others, they should be able to produce results for you within 90 days. If they can't get it done in 90 days, another 90 days or another year is most likely not going to do it. So I would say commit to it for 90 days. I would also say that the terms of your agreement, they shouldn't be, if they sign you up for, say, a year or something, it shouldn't be because they need that in order to produce results. It should be, you're just going to save money, right? And even if you do save money, I would tell you go with the more expensive plan for a shorter period of time, make them prove results, and then, sign up for a longer period to save the money. That would probably be the smarter thing. With my agency, we're month to month, right? I believe if we're not producing results for you, then you should take your money, your ball, and go home, right? We don't want to keep you if you don't feel like you're getting results or value out of what we're doing. Um, but I think it's also very important for someone who's engaging a marketer or an agency to be educated. So the biggest thing that I typically run into is they don't know anything about the space. They have a friend who, I don't know, is spending $20,000 a week on AdWords and they're killing it and they're expecting you to do the same thing. So it's about being realistic and being educated. One, do you have the budget to support your goals, right? You're talking about you want to make $10,000 a week or $100,000 a month, but you don't have the budget to support it. I went and sat with a custom home builder, and I sat in with their director of marketing and sales. And I just asked some simple questions. I said, so, what are your goals, monthly? And they said, oh, yeah, we need to, our goal is to sell like 30 houses a month. I said, okay. How many salespeople do you have? And I think they said like, we got like, I don't know, like 8 or 10, something like that. And I said, okay, so how much are you guys spending on marketing, like on ads? And she said, I think we're spending like 2,000 on Facebook, and I think we're spending like 3,000 on Google. I said, okay, so you want to sell 30 houses. How much are your houses like on average? She said, like, $400,000 or $500,000. I said, okay, so let me get this straight. 500,000 times 30, that's like $15 million. So you're telling me you want to make $15 million, but you're only spending $5,000 a month in marketing. And she said, well, when you put it that way, that sounds a little crazy. I said, absolutely. So you have to be realistic in your expectations. Typically, a rule of thumb, if you're in the B2B, business to business, you should be spending at least 10% of your projected revenue on marketing, right? Holistically. And that's fees to pay the agency, ad budgets and content create, all that stuff, right? Should fit inside of 10%. B2C, you should be spending around 15%. So in that case, if you're trying to make, say, $15 million, right? At 10%, that'd be 1.5 million a month that you need to be spending to realistically be able to be in that range. On the B2C side, well, that would be like 2.25, right? A month, like $2 million a month, 2.25. And when I said that, she said, well, I guess we should be spending a lot more money. I said, yeah, or adjust your expectations. And I think that a lot of business owners set themselves up for failure. They go in thinking, hey, I'm going to spend $100, $500, maybe because I've been burned in the past, or I just don't know much about it, but they're expecting extreme results on a very tiny budget. And then they set themselves up to fail. And then they just say, oh, see, look, I got another agency. It didn't work. We gave them some money and they ran off with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One question also that comes up obviously often is, when do they know, or when do I know I'm getting results? Based on what do I know I'm getting results? Is it how many leads I'm generating? Is it how many sales I'm making? Is it how many people like and share my content? What is it?
Yeah, I always warn people about fake wins, right? A lot of these so-called marketers, right? These digital marketers, maybe just be a guy who's got a digital camera, right? He's got a DSLR camera. He runs around. He's really good at shooting films, and he calls himself a marketer. Or he's a photographer and he calls himself a marketer. Or he's a graphic designer and he calls himself a marketer, right? All of those things are part of marketing, but that doesn't make you a marketer. So, how do you know you're winning? Well, first, before you pay anybody anything, you should probably establish those things. Like, what's the definite, or we call it the definition of done, DOD, right? And we get to the end of the month. Did we do the thing? Did we get it? Is it done? Right? If you say you want to sell 30 houses, well, did we hit 30 houses? Right? But also, depending on your business, sales may not be the target that you should be hitting. Right? We have we just had this conversation with the large company, the traveling company, right? Their product is like, anywhere from $1,000 to like $3,000 to $4,000 per person per trip. And I said, hey, it's unlikely that I'm going to be able to show somebody an ad and then they're instantly going to whip out their Amex and be like, yeah, here's $4,000. I've never met you, don't know anything about your business. I haven't checked to see if my boss is going to let me go to
Mhm.
Fiji, all these different things. I said, but we can help you get some leads in, right?
Mhm.
And there's a difference between sales and marketing. So do you have a sales process? Do you have a sales team, right? Do you have a sales pitch? Have you set that up? So, you need to establish those things before you pay a marketing team. Like, hey, my goal is for you to generate 500 leads, right? We've got this amount of budget. We want to be able to generate 500 leads. Of those leads, we want this many to turn into appointments. Of those appointments, we usually close, let's say, at 20%. So 1 out of 5 should turn into a customer, right? Very simple numbers. When you do that, well, then it makes it easy to understand if you're done. Did you hit the goal? I warn people from the fake wins, right? And somebody's coming to you and saying, "Hey, I'm going to get you 1,000 likes or 1,000,000 likes, or I'm going to get you 40,000 followers, and I got this many comments and blah 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 blah." Right? Who cares about a like? Who
Mhm.
cares about a follow? Right? Those things are important as an indicator that you're in the right place. Right? You're creating content. People like it. They're responding. But is that what I would pay a marketing agency for if I didn't have that whole process set up? Like knowing I get this many followers, this many likes, this many leads, this many appointments, this many sales. I wouldn't do it. It's a fake win to me. So it's all about setting proper expectations. It's all about having real conversations about what you expect and being realistic, right? Again, you can't expect to get 1,000 leads and you're only spending $10 on marketing, right? You got to be realistic.
Thank you so much. I believe a lot of people are gonna get, or a lot of listeners are gonna get a lot of value from what you just shared. Because, as I said, there are so many digital marketing agencies out there, or professionals out there, that trying to get people's money and then they cannot deliver on it. So, thank you for giving all this valuable information and
Yeah,
also education on what they should look for. So I want to be
absolutely.
respectful towards your time, and we're trying also to make this show a little bit more compact and crispy in terms of content and keep it shorter so
Yeah.
people can listen and get the value. Where can people find you and connect you, and maybe also learn more about what you offer?
Yeah. So if you are an aspiring entrepreneur within your first 5 years and you're trying to scale to 6 and 7 figures and beyond, Launch Ignition is definitely a great opportunity for you. So if you go to www.launchignition.ai, you can see our 9-step program and what we've done, some of the entrepreneurs that we've helped. And maybe we can set a time to speak and see if we actually can help. I'm not going to promise that we can, but at least we can talk and see if we can. And if you have kind of already figured out your business, you know the inputs and outputs, and you're just looking to scale and create some more revenue, some more leads, well, then my agency is definitely the best for you, WebsterBerry Marketing. But everything that I do, my books, my businesses, my programs, all those things can be found at my website. So it's my name, ariaswebsterberry.com. Easy to find. Everything's there.
Thank you so much. We will definitely link you up in the show notes. Thanks again for coming on the show and sharing your amazing story and everything you do with our audience.
Thanks for having me, Ali. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.